Good morning, math. I hope you all are well. So today we are going to do two things. Number one, you guys are going to watch an equation review video. And then number two, you have 8 problems that you can find in your module. It's an assignment that you need to complete and submit by next Wednesday. If I were you, I'd get it done today, especially right after you watch the video. So there's a reason why I'm doing this video. I have noticed over the past couple of weeks that some of us are struggling with our inequality skills because we're still struggling with our equation skills. By the way, that noise in the background was my dog Sophie, so if you heard that, she's asleep behind me and she kind of sighed. So anyway, I feel very strongly, since this is a skill you have to know when you go to high school next year, that we need to do some review. Now, please do me a favor. Do not skip over this video. I would like you to watch this video. I'd like you to take notes, and I'd like you to keep those notes for yourselves. Okay, I'm not going to have you submit the notes, but you're going to use them on the homework today. I'm sure some of you out there in e-learning land are thinking, well, I don't need to watch this video. I know how to do equations. I would probably disagree with that because I've seen some skills that I'm not liking lately. So please take the time to watch this video. Remember, this is a skill you have to have for high school next year. It's very, very important. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to start off with a chart that was on my board for a very, very long time. You guys all have this in your notes somewhere, but I'm going to go over it again. So this was the list of directions I gave you to solve any and every equation. So number 1, we do all distributive properties. Number 2, we eliminate fractions. If there are still fractions after we do the distributive property, we actually eliminate the fractions by multiplying through by the least common denominator. Number 3, combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign. Number 4, move variable to one side. I usually move mine to the left. Number 5, isolate your variable, which means get the variable by itself and everything else needs to go on the opposite side. And then number 6, we solve. All right, here we go. All right, so here we go. Problem number 1, and if you wonder why these look kind of funny, it's because I'm taking them off of a worksheet that I have. So here we go. Number 1, we don't have any distributive properties, so we don't need to worry about that. Number 2, we don't have any fractions. We don't need to worry about that. But we're ready to start with number 3, which is combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign. So if I look here, I'm going to start with, I've got a -3 and a -2. So -3 and -2, when I put those together, that's -5. And then I've got a positive 2x and a positive 3x, so that means I have a positive 5x equals 10x. Okay, the next step would be to move the variables to one side. Now normally I go left, but on this one, if I take the 10x over to the left, I'm going to have nothing on the right side, which when we did these problems way back when, we had trouble with that. So instead of going to the left this time, I'm going to go for my norm, go out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to move my variables to the right. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. So I get -5 equals 5x. Now normally at this point, I would have to isolate the variable and get it by itself and move a constant over with that -5, but in this problem, I don't have any. So my variable is isolated. So I only have one step left. I just have to divide both sides by 5. So my answer is -5 divided by 5 is x is -1. Okay, here's the next problem. -6 equals -4 times the quantity 2x minus 8. If you'd like, I'd like you to pause the video, go ahead and work this out, and then come back and go over it with me. If you're not comfortable with that, if you want to do it with me, that's fine too. All right, so if we start this problem, I have distributive property, so I'm going to do that on the right-hand side. So this gives me -6 equals -4 times 2x is -8x. -4 times -8 is positive 32. Okay, step 2 would be eliminate fractions. We don't have any. Step 3 is combine like terms on the same side of the equation. That doesn't apply here. Step 4 is move the variables to one side, but I don't need to worry about that because it's already on one side. But the next step is isolate the variable, which means I want to leave this -8x alone, get rid of what's with it. So plus 32 means I'm going to minus 32 from both sides. That gives me -38 equals -8x. Okay, Next step is solve for the variable. So I'm going to divide both sides by -8. And I get x equals, well, first of all, 2 negatives make a positive. And then 38 over 8, first of all, I'm not going to make it a decimal. I'm just going to reduce that. 38 and 8 divide by 2. So I get the answer of 19 over 4. Okay, go ahead and try this problem. And then come back and go over it with me. All right, so I see distributive property. So I'm going to do the distributive property. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times -x, and there's an imaginary 1 there. So that's -8x equals, on the right-hand side, I got a big number. I don't know why this is in this problem, but that's all good. 14 times 12x. So if I take 14 times 12, can't say that's one I know in my head. That's 168x. And then minus, I have 14 times 16. Got a little crazy with my numbers here. So that gives me 224. All right, so here's where I'm at. Only thing that's hard about this problem so far is the numbers. All right, so let's see here. We've done the distributive property. Don't have any fractions. Do I have any combining like terms on either side? No. So I'm ready to move the variables to one side. So again, you can go either side. I usually go to the left. So I'm going to minus 168x from both sides. That gives me 8, and then -8 and -168 means I have -176x. Oops, that didn't come out very good. Let's try that again. Okay, 176x equals -224. Okay, I'm ready to isolate my variable, which means I'm going to leave this part alone. Now that's a +8, so I'm going to -8 from both sides. This gives me -176x equals negative, both of those are negative, so I'm going to add them, -232. I'm going to solve the problem, and I'm going to divide both sides by -176. My calculator would come in very handy right now, which I don't have one near me, so I got to work this out here. So let's see, 2 negatives make a positive. I know 232 and 176 are both divisible by 2. So let's see here, 232 divided by 2 is 116, and 176 divided by 2 is 88. That means they divided both by 2 again. So let's see here, 116 divided by 2 is 58. 88 divided by 2 is 44. Oh my, I can keep going. Divide by 2 one more time. 58 divided by 2 is 29. And then 44 divided by 2 is 22. Whew, that was painful. So the problem answer is 29 over 22. Now, that wouldn't have been painful had I had a calculator sitting by me, but honestly, I don't have one sitting here near me. All right, next one. All right, here we go. Now, first of all, let me just show you that 5 in the problem. That's problem number 5, okay? So I'm going to mark that out so we don't see it. All right, so do I have distributive properties? Yes, I do. I have 2. So if I do those, 3 times 2y is 6y. 3 times -4 is -12. Minus 2y equals, over here I've got -4 times 3y is -12y. -4 times -5 is +20. Okay, again, I still have no fractions. But do I have like terms to combine on one side? Yes, I do. So if I have 6y and I have -2y, that gives me 4y. Minus 12 equals -12y plus 20. Okay, I'm ready to move my variables to one side. So I'm going to add 12y to both sides. And I get 16y minus 12 equals 20. I need to isolate the variable, so I'm going to add 12 to both sides. And I get 16y equals 32. So now I'm ready to solve for the variable. Divide by 16, and it comes out to be a nice 2. Alright, so here's the next problem. And why don't you go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and try it, and then come back and go over it with me. All right, so do I have distributive properties? The answer is yes. So let's see here. My problem is my pen won't go away. So here we have 2 times 16x and then 2 times negative 4. And by the way, that's a negative 14x. I don't want to drop that negative. So 2 times 16x is plus 32x. 2 times negative 4 is minus 8. On the right-hand side, when I do the distributive property, negative 2 times 5x is negative 10x. And negative 2 times negative 6 is positive 12. Okay, do I have any like terms on the same side to combine? Yes, because I got to skip the fraction part. Still don't have any fractions. Negative 14 plus 32 is 18x minus 8 equals negative 10x plus 12. Okay, I'm ready to move the variables to one side because I don't have anything else to combine. So I'm going to add 10x to both sides. And I get 28x minus 8 equals 12. Okay, I'm ready to isolate my variable. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. And I get 28x equals 20. Okay, and then the last thing that you're going to do is divide both sides by 28. And let's see here, I get x is equal to 20 over 28, but of course I can reduce that by 4. So I get the answer of 5 over 7. Now, I will tell you how I'm going to know that you guys watched this video and got this far. So if you're still watching the video, which everybody should be, and taking notes, when you get to your homework today, okay, I want you to write the word banana at the bottom of the page, okay? If you write banana at the bottom of the page, I'm going to know you watched this video, okay? And that will, I'll give you a couple bonus points on any homework you've done so far if you actually write the word banana, okay? So that's my little test to see who's still watching. All right, here we go. All right, so here we go. We've got a hard one here. We've got fractions involved, okay? So this says problem 7, but we don't care what number it actually says. So first of all, one of the mistakes we always made in class was because we saw the fractions, we're like, oh, we're going to multiply through by the common denominator. No, we should be doing the distributive property first. So when I do the distributive property here, okay, 3/4 times 16x. Some of us are ready to do that in our head. We know 4 goes into 16 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12, so we have 12x. Now, if you're not ready to do that in your head, then your work would look like this. 4 goes into 16 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12x. Same thing. Okay, 3/4 times negative 20. So 4 goes into 25 times, but it's a negative 5. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Now, again, if you're not ready to do that in your head, this is what it looks like. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. Okay, then we have negative 5x equals, on the right side, we have 3x. All right, we have a distributive property here. Negative 3 halves times negative 10x. So 2 goes into 10 5 times. So I have negative 3 times negative 5, that's positive 15x. Okay, let me show you again how that works. So negative 3 halves times negative 10x. 2 goes in here 5 times. Negative 3 times negative 5 is 15x. And then last but not least, negative 3 halves times negative 4. 2 goes into 4 twice. I have negative 3 times negative 2 is plus 6. Or on paper, it looks like this. 2 goes in here twice. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. All right, well, the good news is we don't have any fractions, so we're ready to go straight to combining like terms. So if I have 12x and I have negative 5x, that gives me 7x minus 15. All right, if I have 3x and positive 15x, that gives me 18x plus 6. Okay, we're ready to move the variables to one side. So as always, I'm going to go to the left. I'm going to subtract 18x. And I get negative 11x minus 15 equals 6. Okay, I'm ready to isolate my variable, so I'm going to add 15 to both sides. I get negative 11x equals 21. Divide both sides by negative 11. And I get 21 over negative 11, and I can't do anything to that, so it's done. All right, we got 2 more problems, and these involve story problems, and you will have 2 on your homework, so definitely is going to be helpful to do these 2 together. They're very similar to what you're going to do. All right, here we go. We've got a story problem. It says Amy's going shopping at the mall. She has $228 to spend. She buys a pair of jeans for $39. By the way, I'm going to stop for a second. Wouldn't it be nice to go to the mall right now? Okay, back to reality here. She buys 3 t-shirts that cost $17 each. She buys 4 pairs of shorts that cost $18. If sandals cost $11 a pair, how many pairs of sandals can she buy with her remaining money? Oh, I would love to go shopping right now. I'm so tired of staying in the house. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to write an equation here. So let's see here. What do we know? We know Amy has a total of $228 to spend. So I'm going to write equals 228, okay? It says she buys a pair of jeans for $39. Well, I know we got to take that into account. Okay, so got that. And then it says she buys 3 t-shirts for $17. So I'm going to put plus 3, and I'm going to multiply times 17 because they're each $17. She buys 4 pairs of shorts that are $18 each, so plus 4 times 18. And then it says if sandals cost $11 a pair, how many pairs of sandals can she buy with her remaining money? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put plus 11p. Why? Because p is the number of pairs of sandals I can buy. I just don't know how many I can buy. So, by the way, one of the things we got to do here is we got to define our variable. So what does p stand for? It stands for pairs of sandals. We always have to define our variable. Because otherwise, what do we know that p stands for? Okay, so we've got 39. 3 times 17 is 51. 4 times 18, 72. Plus 11p equals 228. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is combine like terms. So if I take 39, 51, and 72 and add them up, and again, I don't have my calculator with me, that gives me 90, and plus 72 is 162. So those numbers add up to 162 plus 11p equals 228. Okay, I'm ready to isolate my variable. Can you guys hear my dog snoring? It's cracking me up. I'm like, you guys are probably wondering what's going on. All right, so this is 6. Subtract here, and I get 66. So last step is divide both sides by 11. So I get p is 6. Okay, well, what's special about that p equals 6? That means Amy can buy 6 pairs of sandals, and you have to write that as a sentence. So Amy can buy 6 pairs of sandals. All right, one more problem. Okay, I don't call this a story problem. I call this a word problem because it's not a story. So 12 added to 3 times a number is equal to 7 subtracted from twice a number. Find the number. Okay, well, first thing we have to do is we have to write an equation. It says 12 added to 3 times a number, and I don't know what the number is, so I'm going to let x, or n, whatever you want, be the number. That's what we're trying to find. So 12 added to 3 times the number. So 3 times a number would be 3x, and then I'm going to add 12 to it. Now, is equal to, well, that's easy. That's equal to 7 subtracted from twice a number. Now, you got to be careful here. It's not 7 minus. It's subtracted from. So we're going to put minus 7 twice a number. Anything that's twice is 2 times. So we have this. So there's my equation. So I'm ready to solve it. Okay, no distributive property, no fractions, no combining like terms. We're just ready to move the variables to one side. 3x minus 2x is 1x plus 12 equals negative 7. I am going to isolate my variable, subtract 12 from both sides, and I get 1x equals negative 19. Divide by 1, nothing changes, so my number is negative 19. So I'm just going to write the, whoa, that's pretty messy, number is negative 19. Okay, so you are ready now to do the assignment that I put in the module. And the good news is, for those of you that stuck through this video and took notes, you're going to find out that the majority of the problems are very similar to these. So those of you that stayed with me, thank you very much. And you guys have a wonderful day and have a great weekend. Bye.